Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh D'Amigo. I'll be your host this morning, running the audio and visual. That means if there are any mistakes, please make sure to direct your frustrations towards me and not the FoodShare staff. Before we begin, I'd like to offer you a few last-minute practices. Best practices. You will find that this presentation is best viewed on open bandwidth. So if you're watching on your laptop, please consider taking your phone and disconnecting the Wi-Fi, along with any other devices on your Wi-Fi. You may also want to close any windows or applications on your computer that you do not need at this time to help run the live and recorded videos as smoothly as possible. Depending on your personal settings, there should be a question and answer button at the bottom or top of your screen. You will find that the chat is disabled. Please use the question and answer button at the bottom or top of your screen for questions, and the FoodShare staff will be selecting some of those questions from the tab to ask Monica at the end of the broadcast. We invite you to please place all of the questions in the Q&A box at any point during the broadcast. We are going to begin the program now, and it is my pleasure to introduce the CEO and the president of FoodShare, Monica White. Good morning, Monica.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you handling this part for us. I do have to share that all of this Zoom that we've been doing in the past, we held one of our board meetings by Zoom, and I was in charge, and I left one of our board members in the waiting room for an hour. So I said, I am not going to be in charge of this. So thank you, Josh, our wonderful volunteer who's also helped us with the Blue Jean Ball MC. You're a gem. We appreciate you. So thank you so much, everyone who is joining us today. We appreciate it. There's so much that has been going on, and even though we are in the midst of it and we are dealing with this on a minute-by-minute basis, I realize we probably have not done I have not done a very good job of sharing exactly what's going on and be able to give you an opportunity to ask questions 12 weeks post-COVID. What is going on at FoodShare? What can we do to help? And what does FoodShare see about going on in the future? So I hope to be able to answer a lot of those questions. We'll give you a little sneak peek of something that's happening on a virtual tour, and we'll have time for question and answers at the very end. So before I begin, I just wanted to say that I was a little nervous. Even though I am used to talking to large groups of people, for some reason, talking into a camera with no feedback and no one laughing at my jokes was a little daunting. So I do have my administrative assistant, Michelle, sitting on the couch here to laugh at my jokes, so I can feel better about what I'm doing. But then also when I was looking at the list of everyone who has RSVP'd who wanted to attend today, thank you so much. Just reviewing that list of 50 people. What? No, it's not 50?
Not 50.
How many?
220.
Oh, 250 people. That's what I meant. That every single one of them are friends of FoodShare. They're friends, they're volunteers, they're supporters, they're stakeholders. And actually, this is an easy thing to do because I am just sharing our story that we do every single day, and to be able to share it on a broader scope of COVID related, I'm happy to be able to do that. So let's get started. We have received a ton of questions, and I thought that would be an easier way for me to be able to talk. I'm good with radio, I'm good with television, I'm good with a crowd, but when no one's asking me questions, a little difficult. So we picked out some of the most important questions that have come up since we've started, and I'll get started. How has COVID-19 affected FoodShare? Well, back on, March 15th, when all hell broke loose, there was a shelter in place for age 65 and over. And this was the first day that we really saw what was going to be coming down the pike for many of our volunteers are over the age of 65. And when they were encouraged to stay home, it took our volunteer staff, our volunteer workforce really took a hit. 3,000 volunteers are what help make our food bank run every single year. And those 3,000 volunteers home and they can't help us, we needed to reach out and be able to get more help. We also saw that this was affecting our pantries. So our network of pantries that we provide food to that serves that 75,000 people every single month, those pantries are also run by volunteers. So we immediately saw a nearly quarter decrease in the number of pantries that were open. So that, combined with an all of a sudden increased need, there was a huge strain on our pantries. At the same time, people were stocking up, not just on toilet paper at their grocery stores, but also food, staples, tuna, toilet paper, pasta, toilet paper. And what happens is that is part of our network. That is where we receive a majority of our food is rescued every single day from our retail partners throughout Ventura County. And when there was no more of those staples to rescue every day, we saw a huge decrease in the amount of food that was available. So FoodShare immediately had to start purchasing food. Normally we purchase about $50,000 a month of food. But we, in order to be able to stock up for the pantries and for an additional need that we were seeing, the cost has gone up to about $300,000 per month of just food. So that was just the beginning. That was just the first month. And seeing that we didn't have our volunteers, what we had to do is be able to bring in another workforce. We were so fortunate to be contacted by the Air National Guard, and they were deployed to FoodShare to help us. For 12 weeks, we had an additional arm of our family to be able to help us pack emergency food boxes. So all the food that we were purchasing, we were putting into emergency food boxes that we were then distributing at pop-up distributions. Those pop-up distributions were developed and scheduled to help our pantries, to be able to help those important partners so they weren't overwhelmed by the additional need. I think a lot of people ask, or have been asking, so what is the additional need? What is it that you're seeing? Right now, 8 weeks in, we're seeing double the amount of people. Normally at 3% unemployment, we're seeing we serve about 75,000 people every single month. It's doubled. We are now seeing about 150,000 people every single month. Those pop-up distributions that we have been manning throughout the county, they are daily and they are serving thousands and thousands of households. For our Air National Guard and our volunteers, like the city of Oxnard, they all have been so instrumental in helping us staff those pop-up distributions. Yesterday, we had our 10th week of distributions, and it was at Oxnard, and we hold it at College Park, where the Strawberry Festival is normally held, and we saw 1,850 cars. There was about that served about 25,000 individuals, that one distribution. About 120 volunteers come to those distributions and help us for that 2-hour time period. We couldn't do it without them. They have been instrumental, and we appreciate them more than we can ever say. So the increased need, let's talk about who those people are. A lot of people, when they do come to FoodShare and they ask who it is that we serve, they say it's the homeless, right? Yes, we do. We serve the homeless. But the homeless count in Ventura County is 1,800 individuals. Given that we're serving 75,000 individuals and now 150,000 individuals, who are those people? They're working families. There are people who are just trying to make ends meet. And when we had a complete shutdown and the economic downturn due to all of the shelter in place and only essential workers being able to go to their jobs, and unemployment reaching 14%, and talking to Bruce Stensley and saying that could it be anywhere between 18 and 31%. All of those people who were just living on the margin, who were living paycheck to paycheck and who weren't considering themselves poor, but were dependent on that monthly or that weekly income, all of a sudden did not have that revenue to be able to feed their family. Everyone needs to be able to keep their car, to be able to go to their job. They're going to keep the roof over their head. Where can they make that difference? Where can they make ends meet? In that local food pantries, what food banks like Food Share into those food pantries to be able to help those people make ends meet. So those are the ones that we are serving. We're calling them the newly unemployed. The most vulnerable of our community are the people who have been laid off, they've been furloughed, they have lost their jobs. Those people making $20 an hour and less are the ones that have felt it. And they're the ones who have now joined our lines at the pop-up distributions and then also at all of our pantries. And they are the ones that Food Share is determined to make sure that they don't go hungry. I'd like to pause for just a minute to show you a quick video. I promise it's not long. And it's just something our wonderful new marketing director has put together that I think you will enjoy. So Josh, can you do that for me?
Monica White here, President and CEO of Food Share of Ventura County. As the number of people facing food insecurity continues to rise as the result of the pandemic, we are seeing an unprecedented demand for food. It's at a scale that's so large, we've even hit the national news.
Thousands of Southern Californians lined up throughout the week to get meals from Food Share of Ventura County.
We've never seen anything like this before.
CEO Monica White says food demands doubled this month, which left them scrambling to create new pop-up pantries to meet the need.
It came so fast, it's unbelievable. And watching and hearing about all the people who are filing unemployment, they were also showing up in line to be able to receive food.
Food Share has ramped up operations to meet the escalating need. Alongside our amazing volunteers, the Air National Guard has been deployed to help pack 55,000 disaster relief food boxes. This has enabled us to operate over 50 drive-through distributions, serving more than 120,000 individuals in just the past 2 months. The level of need for food we're seeing here in Ventura County is of historic proportions. And the countless thank yous from the people we serve has been overwhelming. Food Share will continue to provide food for people in need throughout Ventura County for as long as needed. But to continue, we need your help. Go to foodshare.com for up-to-date information on where to find food, volunteer opportunities, and how you can support Food Share with a monetary donation. Please help us feed our hungry friends and neighbors today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. That last photo, we have a couple of those that are just, they make us so happy when we see notes like that thank you. And really, we can't take all the credit for the thank yous that we're receiving. It has been an absolute community effort to be able to help Food Share, to be able to serve those in need. I'd love to be able to just take just a moment to be able to thank some of our supporters who are on the call today, our dear friends, people such as Vanessa Bechtel from the Ventura County Community Foundation, who has been instrumental in helping us navigate what needs to be done in order for us to continue to be sustainable. The County of Ventura stepped up immediately, right in the beginning. Board of Supervisors approved a very generous $285,000 a month to be able to help us purchase food that we needed right at the very beginning. They've also been able to help us with refrigerated trucks, pallet jacks, all the things that we need to be able to meet the demand of all the additional food that we're receiving to feed those in need. Driscoll's, Amgen, Haas Foundation, Ryder, Lineage Logistics, who is providing us free cooler and refrigerated space. It's a combination of all of them that actually make us be able to continue to do what we're doing. And I couldn't even begin to list every single person who has donated to us. But I would say, if you're on this call, thank you. We can't do this without your support. We've never been able to do this without the community support. And the good news is, I keep saying that, is that FoodShare is in this for the long haul. I think one of the first questions that we got was, is FoodShare going to close? Can FoodShare handle this? And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but I said, no, this is actually what we've been training for. This is what we have been gearing up for. We feed people every single day, not just during a disaster. So when it's required for us to be able to expand, to be able to do more, the outpouring of support from everybody who is offering all of their services, their food, their donations to be able to help us succeed, thank you. We couldn't do it without you. Right now, we're going to do something fun. I'm going to bring it over to our Chief Development Officer, Jennifer Caldwell, who's going to share with you something new about where FoodShare has expanded to. Jen, you're on.
Thanks, Monica. And again, I just want to share my appreciation to everyone that's on the call as well. To put it into perspective, I know Monica gave the statistic of we used to spend about $50,000 a month on food, and we've been nearing and over $300,000 a month. And we knew right from the start that our warehouse, our beautiful 36,000 square feet of 2 warehouses, wasn't going to be able to handle that. And to put that into truckload perspective, we used to get 1, maybe 2 semi-truckloads a week of food. And now we're between 5 and sometimes even 9 or 10 semi-truckloads of food a week. And I want to just applaud our warehouse staff for being able to handle that. But we knew that we needed the space for it. And I want to give a huge shout out to Lawrence, owner of Services USA, here off of Lombard in Oxnard, for having this beautiful warehouse space, which some that you can see behind me, that we were able to use and procure to help meet this increased need. And also over at this warehouse is where we've been packing these emergency food boxes, the 4,000 plus boxes that we have been distributing each week, 1,800 alone yesterday in Oxnard, as Monica mentioned. But what you'll also kind of see behind me is a little empty of people, and that was the Air National Guard that was here packing these boxes. They were doing upwards of 27 pallets a day sometimes. They were kicking butt and moving really quickly. But they, as of yesterday, just 24 hours ago, have been redeployed, understand. So unfortunately, that's going to definitely leave a hole, and not just in these boxes, but in our hearts as well, as we've loved having them there. But the good news is that our volunteer workforce, those 3,000 people a year, as Monica mentioned, we're starting to welcome them back, and they're very excited to be back. They've been itching to come back for quite some time. But it's also opening the door for new volunteers, new people who maybe never heard about FoodShare before this pandemic. So thank you to the National News for putting food banks on the map, even though we've been doing this for over 40 years just here in Ventura County. But we're excited to be able to welcome new people into our family to show this is what we do, and we're going to continue to do what we do. But what I want to show you is something that I hope that you'll share pride in, is the food that goes into these disaster boxes that's going out into the community. So I'm going to turn my camera around. I staged a little something so you can see what goes into these boxes. You can see some rice, some beans, some oats up there, shelf-stable milk. There's some peanut butter, everyone's favorite. We've also got some canned protein. We've got some tuna, some beans, some trail mix, some canned chicken, pasta sauce, along with pasta. That shelf-stable milk all goes into these boxes. And I'm just going to take you on a little bit of a tour as you can kind of see what we have here. And a lot of this was thanks to the County of Ventura. We have these roller tables. The food goes into these boxes, they get packaged on these pallets, and then they go out to these pop-up pantries that we've been doing all throughout the county. And we've just had some incredible supporters that have been able to help us at these pop-up pantries. It's really heartwarming to see the looks on these our friends and our neighbors' faces as we're putting a box of shelf-stable food and produce into their trunk, and just to say thank you. And it's really that's what we're here for, is to be able to continue to serve the community. And I'm really proud of our team, our staff, and of course our fearless leader for being able to take this head on. And as we keep saying, we've been here for 40 years doing this, but we kind of just had to turn up the volume a little bit during this, and we're going to continue turning up that volume as high as it needs to go to be able to meet this increased need. So I'm really excited to be able to share a little bit. I got out of the office today, which is kind of exciting. So, but this is what we get to do on a daily basis, and I'm glad that we got to kind of take you on a little bit of that journey today. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out if you need anything. Come get your hands dirty. I'm sure you guys are tired of working from home. We have the volunteer spots open. We'd love for you to come join us and really be a part of the mission that we get to honored to live every single day. So thank you so much. And Monica, I'll throw it back to you.
Great. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. It's sad seeing that beautiful new space that is being donated to us for free for at least 90 days. It was filled with National Guard as of 2 days ago. Thank you, Jen. Sorry, I'm not sure if you heard me. It was so nice to be able to receive this donated space by the owner of Services USA. We'll be there as long as we're able to, but it was so nice to be able to see the Air National Guard in there until they were deployed to nearby Los Angeles for the events that are happening there. But being able to spread out was very important, be able to keep that 6 foot social distancing. And as many of you know who have been to our 2 warehouses, we desperately needed that additional room. So we were so grateful to be able to receive that, along with Lineage Logistics for all the refrigerated space. Another one of the questions that we do get, and this is from a new program, is people are asking, what's up with all the produce boxes that are being distributed throughout Ventura County? It's called CFAP. It stands for the Coronavirus Farmer Assistance Program. And what this is through the CARES Act. And this was a $2.1 billion through USDA of being able to buy produce, dairy, and protein from farmers and manufacturers, and then distribute those for free through the food banks. So we are the recipient. We were not one of the grantors, but somebody like the Berry Man, who is here locally, is able to give us nearly 12,000 boxes of beautiful, beautiful produce that we're able to now combine that with our stapled boxes that Jen just showed you, the emergency food boxes. And these boxes are 38 pounds, 12 different items of beautiful, nutritious produce, fruit, vegetables, and these boxes are being very well received. So you'll see a lot of those boxes also are being distributed through some of our pantry partners, such as Spirit of Santa Paula, Catholic Charities, but we're doing our very best to coordinate deliveries to be able to get those boxes out to as many as possible. And let's see, I think we're nearing the end of all my pre-planned questions, but I do need to, before I lose anybody on the Q&A, people always ask me, Monica, how can I help? It's the same answer that I always have. There are 3 things that we need in order to be able to continue to be able to serve those in need in Ventura County. We can use your dollars, we can use your hours, and we can use your cans. It's the combination of food, monetary support, and hours from your volunteers support system. It's that combination that has you do what we do for 40 years. It's even more important now. We know that even though the National Guard left us yesterday, we know that we have so many volunteers. Christina Farino, our Director of Volunteer Services, is ready to be able to take on our additional volunteers. Everything that you need in order to be able to help Food Share or support or you can contribute is all on our website. Foodshare.com is where you can find food if you need it. You can also sign up to volunteer, and you can make a monetary donation. So that is all I have on my pre-planned part. So let's go to Christy Pollard, our lovely grants manager who has been here for 15 years now. And Christy has been monitoring our chat box. And Christy, give me some questions that I hope I can answer.
You can, for sure. It's all just about what we're doing. So we have a lot of great questions here. The first one comes from Nelda asking what our funding sources are.
Thank you, Nelda. Our funding sources, pretty diversified. One thing that we're actually very proud of, that we are not we're not dependent on one source at all. 1/3 of our funding does come from individuals, comes from you, our community, from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, from our harvesters who give us $10 a month. 1/3 of our revenue comes from that. The other third does come from the government through the USDA program. They provide us food and a small amount to be able to help pay for the storage and distribution of the food. And then the third part is a combination of corporations, foundations, organizations, and all the other Asians that I can think of. But it's the Lions Clubs, the Rotaries, it's the I'm sorry, our brand new one from today, the Anderson Stewart Family Foundation. Incredibly generous donations. It's a combination of all of those, which is the other third. And all of that makes up to our $3.7 million that we need to be able to raise on an annual basis, which has now been doubled.
Okay, the next question comes from Jordan and is interested in knowing how many people have donated food in the past month. So maybe instead of talking about the financial donors, now we're asking about the food donors.
Yes, the food donors. So in conjunction with that CFAP program that we've been talking about, a lot of our food does come from donations. They come from food drives. They come from manufacturers. They come from growers. They come from our farmers. The Port of Wainini, incredible support of being able to provide us with bananas and pineapples when they need rescuing. We're there to pick them up in one of our huge trucks. The food that we do rescue from the grocery stores, which saw that hit when everybody was stocking up at home, it has bounced back a bit, probably about 50%. But that decrease in being able to find all of that food is one of the main reasons that we've had to move to purchasing food, that is what we are really doing the fundraising for, to be able to continue to be able to purchase that food to get it out to those who are in need.
Okay, we have a couple of questions about the pop-up pantries. One is, can you pick up an emergency food box for a family in need who can't make it to the pop-up? Why don't you go ahead and answer that one first?
Sure. So the pop-up distributions, one thing about them is that they are drive-through, and that was meant to be able to keep it safe during COVID, to be able to make sure that our volunteers who were helping us in the distribution were going to be safe, and then also the people who are coming to pick up their food. We asked them to roll up their window. They put their ID on the actual glass. All we require is their name, ID, and their zip, and how many people are in their household. If you are picking up for someone else, all you have to do is just have their ID and be able to, you can pick up for friends, family, and whoever is needed it. There is no documentation required. We don't ask any of that. If you need food, you can come to one of the distributions and you can get it. If you do not have a car, we do have ability to be able to accept walk-ups. We do see many people who do come on a bike, and we will, they put them into bags where they put them on the handlebars. We'll do whatever it takes in order to be able to help those in need.
Okay, the next question comes from Monica, asking a great question that we have been talking a lot about internally here. How much do you depend on the animals auctioned off at the Ventura County Fair, and how will that affect you this year? What can we do to help?
That's such a good question. We were just talking about this today. So every year at the Ventura County Fair, as you know, the 4-H, the junior livestock auction, there are thousands of animals that are auctioned off at the end of the fair. There has been a very generous foundation called the Wood Clayson Foundation that would come in, and they did this for 3 different fairs. They would purchase or they would bid on all of the animals, and they would in turn donate that to Food Share. They also paid for the processing, which is a very large amount. It costs money to move a steer into steak, as you can imagine, and they paid for all of that. We have been notified that that will not be happening this year, and so that is about $1 million worth of protein that we are not going to be receiving. This is just one of the results of COVID that we've seen, and is the National Association of Letter Carrier Drive, where people were putting bags of food out at their mailbox. We were collecting it. That was canceled, and that was about 250,000 pounds of food. And also Feed SoCal, which happens with ABC and Vaughn's and Albertsons in June, that has been canceled as well. And that, you know, our normal ways of collecting that food has been disrupted. And so that is what we are working through. We are finding ways of purchasing food, raising the money to purchase the food. We will find our way around that. But thank you for asking.
Okay, another great question comes from Sophia, and she's asking about our efforts aimed at addressing food insecurity among college students in Ventura County.
Thank you. We have pantries at every single one of our local colleges, that we know that there is a need. Students need food, just like working families, just like all the other demographics that we serve. And I think the Dolphin Pantry is definitely one of the most popular.
Okay. Another question comes from David Goodman. He asked if we consider ourselves to be first responders or second responders.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. We appreciate that. And you know, this is my 3rd year, coming up on 3 years of being here, and I think this is probably the 3rd disaster, so to speak. I was here in 6 months after I started, the Thomas fire hit. And a year later after that, the Woolsey fire hit. We had the government shut down where we needed to help feed the Coast Guard here locally on our base. Every time there is a disaster, normally in the past, the first responders are the police, are the fire, are the Red Cross. But right now we are seen as we consider ourselves, and we are being treated as those first responders, that if you need food, where you're going to be able to go is to be able to go to our pantries, be able to go to our pop-up distributions, and we are serving those who are in need in that regard. So thank you for that question.
How would you describe the culture of Food Share that allows an organization to run toward disaster instead of away from?
Yeah, that goes back to that question of, are you closing? Like, no. Why would we be closing? Like, this is what we're ready for. This is what we've been training for. No, towards disaster, yes. I mean, we know that in times of disasters that there's going to be an increased need. I'm so proud of our culture of our staff and our volunteers and our board of directors who are willing to just step up and say, we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that no one goes hungry. Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled that Food Share was actually in a position right when this hit to be able to buy $300,000 worth of food. We haven't been in that position for a while. And, you know, it's taken us some time to be able to get to that position, but now we're very proud of that we were able to move immediately, and we were able to, I'm trying really hard not to use the word pivot and unprecedented, because I feel like I've used it way too much. But we've been able to do that, but that is because of the amazing staff that I have, that no one has taken a day off in so long. But, you know, even to have someone like our chief development officer running pop-up distributions, and having our food sourcing person who normally deals with farmers is now buying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of food. It's amazing to be able to come in and work alongside such heartfelt hunger relief workers. I'm honored to be leading this organization and honored to be working with all of you.
Okay, another question we get quite often. What are the requirements to volunteer at FoodShare during this COVID-19 crisis? And how is FoodShare cleaning our warehouses?
Yes, we had to be very quick on that. And we have now a janitorial service that comes in once a day. And we have temperature checks for all of our employees and for our volunteers. We have masks. Thank you for all the donations of the masks and gloves. And we have, we're just doing our very best. I think we're doing an outstanding job of ensuring the safety of our employees, of our volunteers, and of those who are coming through our pop-up distributions. How about one more question, Christy?
Okay, sounds good. At this point, with the drive-through distributions, are we running out of food, or will there continue to be more?
We are only as stable as the funds that are available for us to be able to continue doing what we're doing. We, in the beginning, talked about, okay, what's the need going to be? How long is this going to take? We originally said 90 days. I know, that was silly. Then we said 6 months. And then we said through the end of the year. And now listening and hearing and doing projections, we know that this is not going to be anything shorter than at least 24 months that we are going to need. Even if there was a vaccine today, even if everything opened back up and everybody got their jobs back, there are still going to be people that are hurting and that have a need to be able to feed their families. That is what we're going to be here for. We're here for the long haul. Long after the news vans leave, covering the thousands of cars in our pop-up distributions, FoodShare is going to be here. We're going to be feeding people, and we're going to continue to raise money to be able to buy those items that they want. They want peanut butter, pasta, tuna. They want those items that are good and healthy and that can help feed their families. And if we have to purchase that, then we will raise the money to be able to do that. We're not going to run out of food. It's a worry. It's what keeps me up at night. Without food, we're irrelevant. So that's why we're going to continue to push for those three things. We can use your dollars, we can use your hours, and we can use your food. It's a combination of all three that makes us successful and be able to serve our community. So thank you. I appreciate everyone's questions. And I really would like to be able to end on sharing with you. In the past, we had just kicked off, it was called Food for Thought. It was lunch and tour with the CEO. We were bringing people in. They were taking a tour with me, and they were being able to walk in our freezer, tour our 2 warehouses, and then sit down and have lunch and be able to ask hard questions just like these and be able to get an in-depth information about what is going on with FoodShare. And every single one of those people who came has a different FoodShare story. They all are ambassadors. They all are stakeholders, and they all have different reasons for why they want to support their local food bank. I'm sorry we haven't been able to do this in a while. This is as close as you're going to get to having lunch with me for a bit. But we hope that we're going to be able to open that up as soon as possible. We really are looking forward to Cantry. And I know that seems so far from now, but it's December. It's the first week in December. And we are just hoping that that is going to be the first big event that we can all rejoin back together to be able to support our community, to be able to get back together, build some cantries, be able to get some food to FoodShare and those out in our community. So thank you. Keep that on your calendar, and look out on our social media for any updates on when we will be opening back up Food for Thought. And if I didn't get a chance to answer any of your questions, please send me an email. I'm at mwhite@foodshare.com. Most of you already have my cell phone, but call me. We'd be happy to answer any questions, and I cannot say thank you enough. It's the combination of all of you and your support that helps me get up in the morning and all of us to be able to continue to do what we do. So thank you.
That is the end of our broadcast. Thank you so much for attending. And if you would like to donate, please text Zoom to 41444. And to volunteer, please go to www.foodshare.com/volunteer. Once again, to donate, please text Zoom to 41444. Or to volunteer, please go to www.foodshare.com/volunteer.